This past week, many of you all may know that the school children at St. Henry's School performed the musical Aladdin Jr. And I had the great opportunity to see it with the children on Thursday afternoon. And one of the things I love about watching Aladdin Jr. or any of the musicals with our children is that they are so excited they can hardly sit still in their chairs. They're moving around and bouncing all the time. And one of the teachers, who is here today, Maddie, where are you? Maddie, who's our cantor today, stood up beforehand and she said, now when we get to the incidental music, that's the music that occurs between the scenes, listen carefully. It's preparing you for the next scene. And then she said, can you say incidental? And of course all the kids said, incidental, right? So she's a good teacher, so I learned a new word myself. I didn't know it was called incidental music between the scenes. But one of the things that struck me was that they began, of course, during that incidental music behind the curtain to clear the stage. That clearing of the stage prepared the way for the next scene that was going to unfold. And in some ways, the gospel today is about Jesus clearing the stage. The temple area, that place most sacred to God's people as the place of worship of God, is the place that needs to be cleansed, prepared. And so the great cleansing of the temple in John's gospel begins early in that gospel. Unlike Matthew, Mark, and Luke, where it takes place right before Holy Week. For John, that clearing of the temple is preparing for everything that will come. I was seated next to a little girl who was so excited during one of the change of scenes. They were bringing out the new set. She said, oh, this is my favorite scene in the whole movie. Of course, I've never seen the movie, so I didn't know what was coming next, right? So I was like, okay, let's see what comes next. And you know, what comes next for us is the temple of Jesus' own body. That's what John's gospel is pointing us to, that he is the new temple, and his offering on the cross for us will be the new sacred place. And all of our Lenten journey, everything that you and I are doing is pointing us to that great mystery of the Lord giving himself for us on the cross. That's why Paul says today, it's the power of God and the wisdom of God, Christ crucified, because that's the moment when the Lord will give all that he is, his entire self for you and me. That's our new worship in spirit and in truth. And all during Lent, all of the disciplines that we've been practicing, whether prayer or fasting or the giving of alms, our devotions like the way of the cross, or examining our lives in light of those great 10 commandments, everything we do is pointing us toward Holy Week, that great mystery of Jesus giving himself to us. I remember a friend of mine had gone to a retreat, and she sat before a crucifix in prayer. And as she prayed, she was looking at the Lord on the cross, and the Lord began to speak to her. And the Lord said to her something along these lines. It's been many years she told me the story. He said, look at my hands. They're stretched out for you. They want to touch your wounds with healing power. Look at my eyes gazing at you with great mercy and love. Look at my arms stretched out. They want to embrace you. Look at my whole body. It is given for you. That's the mystery of love. And you and I are invited into that great mystery. As we contemplate the love of Christ for us, we're called to become love for each other and to give ourselves in self-giving love. And that really is why we are gathered here on this day of the Lord. Every time we celebrate the Eucharist, around this table behind me, we hear the words of Jesus spoken. This is my body given for you. This is my blood poured out for you. The mystery of the cross and of Easter, the resurrection, is here today at this altar. And all of us are invited to become part of that mystery. All right, in a few minutes, maybe we'll have some incidental music to get us ready for the next great act that unfolds by God's mercy.